450 and 250FX from Yamaha. Let's see how big is the difference between these two bikes and which one would be better for the weekend warrior like myself. Hey, what's up guys, Rado here. We got a treat for you today. This is brand new 2025 YZ450FX Lada bike, and this is the smaller, younger sister 2025 YZ250FX. I've been riding this thing for the last 3 months. I really love this bike, and I want to ride them back to back on the same terrain, and I want to see what is the difference. How big is that gap? Is it something that I might be able to handle? I'm a 42 years old C-class vet rider. I can ride a little bit. I'm not that fast. I'm also not that slow. Just kind of in the middle for the vet rider. So I want to see and give you a little advice if you are thinking between these two bikes. What are the differences and which one felt better for me?
The first test would be on the turn tracks. You know, in California winter, turn tracks is something that I ride a lot. So definitely, if I have an off-road bike, I would have to have a bike that feels really good on the turn tracks. You can tell right off the bat that I'm not feeling comfortable on this thing on the turn track. I'm not really using high RPM. I'm kind of staying in low RPM, short shifting this thing. It's 450, it's a lot of power, and the clutch pull is it's kind of hard on this bike. It's not really one finger thing. So I didn't really enjoy it. I think that this 450 is just too much bike for me on the turn track, and I didn't like it that much. Now let's look at a 250. If you just listen to the engine and the revs and RPM, I'm feeling way more happy on this thing. I'm revving every gear, second and third, and I'm using pretty much, I would say 80% of the bike, maybe even more. If I compare that to 450, I was maybe using 30-40% of that thing, and it just doesn't feel good if you are riding a bike, and you know that you're only using not even half of the potential the bike has. Now on this 250, I'm really twisting the throttle. I am much faster when it comes to coming into the turns, getting out of the turns, and staying in the ruts. It's just much easier. So, you know, 10 times out of 10 for the turn track, I would choose YZ250FX. It's just a better tool for the job. Next, let's hit something a little bit flowy. This is the ride I took in the winter. You can see some snow on the trails, and 250FX feels really good in these flowy trails. If you're staying in the second gear, third gear, and you can just be all day long riding this thing. Now every now and then on the rides like this, you will come to a situation where you need a little bit more power, and 250 has all the power you need, but it just feels that, you know, sometimes you are asking quite a bit from the bike. It's good, it can do everything, but you know, I wouldn't mind to have a little bit more power. These kind of situations, you know, opposed to a turn track, in these kind of situations, I wouldn't mind to have a little bit more power. The bike is good, the suspension is amazing, it feels good in my hands. I did everything I wanted to do on this bike, on this ride, but as I said, there was a room for more power. Now if you take 450 on the same kind of trail, something that flows, you can stay in second and third gear. Well, let's just say I had zero complaints here. I had zero complaints about how the bike feels, how the bike handles.
Oh, this bottom is so good.
About the power of the bike. It actually made a lot of sense to have this extra power, this extra 200cc on these kind of trails.
The suspension,
even when it got a little bit more technical, I would still, you know, handling everything pretty much with ease. I was using the potential of the bike. You know, not everything, but I felt much better than on the turn track.
Oh boy, that's a lot of power.
I felt like this definitely can be my bike.
Well, let's cruise in the third gear. We're going pretty slow, but still staying in the third. I want to see if that's the gear that we can just use for cruising.
So for the flowy trails, 250 versus 450, I am picking 450. It can do everything, and I can handle it, and I can feel safe, and I can feel that I'm using the bike the way it was meant to be used on this kind of flowy trails. So 450 getting a point now. Next thing on the list is the motocross riding. Let's listen a little bit to this 450. definitely a lot of bike.
This thing wants to go. You don't need to use clutch at all. Not like on 250.
Yeah, exactly. You don't need to clutch this thing on the motor track. It has really good power from the bottom. It pulls everything. And look at this jump. I just gave it a little throttle.
Whoa! Oh, I just give it a little throttle and I OJ'd it big time. Yeah, the pulling wheel is...
It pulled wheelies off the turn when I just go on the throttle, and it just doesn't feel right. Again, I'm not using the potential of the bike. I'm probably using 30-40%, and I'm coming to the biggest jump on the track that I really need to carry momentum on the 250. Now check how I do 450 here. Yeah,
Man,
so
this
easy.
thing pulls everything. I didn't even have to have a speed in a turn. On 250, I really have to carry momentum over there. On this one, I just cracked the throttle like 30 feet before the jump and I cleared it no problem.
Now let's look at the 250 and listen to that engine. Listen how happy this thing sounds on the moto track. I'm revving that second and third gear, you know, hitting my marks and just having a really good time on this track. The most important thing is that I have fun, I have good time, and I feel that I'm using the bike the way it was supposed to be used. I'm pretty much asking from this bike 80, 90, maybe sometimes even 100%, and it feels amazing twisting the throttle and using the bike, you know, fully. And I'm not slower than I was on the 450. So for the motor riding, 450 is just a too much bike for me. It just allows me to be lazy, which I don't like. I still want to get better in riding. So this 250 is actually asking me to keep momentum and ride much faster, which overall is a better fit for me. So for the motocross riding, I'm definitely picking YZ250FX. So the last on the list are the open trails, fast desert riding. And I'm not even gonna show you 250 because it's very clear that for riding like that for the desert open trails that is not very technical, you need some power and speed. 450 wins every single time. Also, when you need to do the hill climb, when you need to go up the sandy hill, sometimes 250 might feel not enough. You know, the power of 250 is amazing, but sometimes in those deep sandy conditions, climbing steep hills, 450 is so much better for the job. So for something a little bit faster, I would definitely pick 450. I felt really good on this thing. I felt I'm in control, and I was using the power of this thing quite well. I think 450FX would be an amazing desert bike for myself. So you see it, it's 2 for 250 and 2 for 450.
Alright guys, so 450 or 250? Very difficult question. Honestly, I want both. I would like to have both because they are just different tools for a different terrain. If I am only on a moto track, if I have one bike that I mainly ride some like a GP style tracks like Glen Helen or those kind of tracks, I would pick 250 10 times over 10. Really like the power. I have to work it harder. It has enough power. It pulls me up the hills. I can do the jumps. I can do everything. And I need to keep the momentum. So it kind of pushes me to be a better rider. Now this 450 on the standard map is fast, plenty fast. It has a lot of power. It can pull all the jumps and I can be lazy. And that's sometimes not a good thing. Actually, that's always not a good thing to be lazy. You want to get a better rider. I'm still in that age that I want to get a better rider. So 450 will push me to be a little bit more lazy. I can do all the jumps, even if I'm not nice and flow in a turn before the jump. And if this thing is on the aggressive map, too much power, I don't want it, I don't like it, I would get hurt easily. One whiskey throttle in a bad situation and I'm done. With this thing, whiskey throttle, not so much, not a big problem. It still pulls me a little bit, but I can handle it. I can chop the throttle. This thing, I was coming out of a turn, gave it a little bit more throttle. It pulled a wheelie. I was just hanging on the bike. Too much, I don't want it. Too much power for something like that. Now, if I go on the open trail, desert kind of like trails, I want this thing 10 times over 10. It has a nice power. It has this nice bottom. It is smooth and it runs so good. I like that power. I feel like I can handle it. I can be not all the way to the aggressive, maybe a little bit more between the standard and aggressive. I will move that map a little bit to more aggressive side and still stay in a control. I feel like this bike will do great. On the trails, it did really good. I felt really good. So if this is my desert bike and it's only off-road bike and I'm not really hitting big jumps, I'm not riding at tight corners, I want 450, definitely. The 250 will probably run out of breath sometimes. I can do everything on it as well, but this just kind of makes a little bit more sense for the open trails, desert, and that kind of stuff. So I want both bikes. Now on this 450, suspension is dialed out of the box better for me. I'm 205 pounds right now, and this thing felt good on the fast cheddar, on this chop. And also when I was hitting the jumps on my track, if I OJ'd something or if I just land where I'm supposed to, this thing was much better. On 250, I'm feeling that sometimes I'm asking a little bit too much from this off-road suspension on the moto track. So this thing would be good to send it over to race tech and just dial it in a little bit more for 205-pound guy who is jumping on the track every now and then. So it needs to be in the middle between the off-road and the motocross. But this 450, I feel like Yamaha already make it their way, because it's usually older, bigger guys are riding 450, so that suspension is a little bit stiffer and make more sense for myself. So I cannot give you an answer. I cannot really tell you which one to get. You have to know what kind of riding you're gonna do. There is no one simple answer saying that this bike is better or that bike is better. They feel very similar in the hands. That the ergonomy is the same bike, right? Suspension, all that, it feels really good. Brakes are amazing on both bikes. Clutch, yeah, clutch is nice and light on this 250. All day long, one finger, no problem. I don't even feel it. Doesn't bother me. 450, yes, the big engine has the stiffer springs, so when you pull it with one finger, you feel that and you get like an arm pump. But they are selling GYTR hydraulic clutch kit for these things for $300. So if I'm picking up this 450, that would be the first thing I would be getting, the hydraulic clutch, so I can do one finger all day long, just like you would do on any other bikes with the hydraulic clutches. On 250, you don't really need that. This clutch is plenty easy to pull. You don't need to do anything there. It works really well. So that's another thing that I would do. And also handguards, big thing I would put on this 450. So guys, you just need to know what kind of terrain you're gonna ride. If you stay more on the open trails, you're a desert guy, you ride the kind of like a faster thing, you stay in the third and fourth gear most of the time, then yeah, get 450. If that map is really surprising. You can go all the way aggressive, and this is a fire-breathing machine, but if you move it all the way to smooth, it's similar to 250. So you can really dial in the power, and according to the situation, to the terrain, to the condition, to how you feel that day, pull up your phone, takes like 30 seconds, change the mapping, send it to your ECU. You can have 2 maps there, and you are good to go. It's really simple and easy to use. So if you are the desert guy, if you ride the trails mostly, there is no reason why you cannot handle this 450. Play with the power, play with the traction control, set suspension for you, set a sec, and you have a good bike for many, many years. Now, if you are more a technical rider and you go on these technical trails, or if you ride moto more often, if you go to the turn track, like I ride a lot, this turn track on 250, 450 was too much for the turn track. So this 250 would be the choice for me. I like it on the track because I need to work it hard, I need to keep momentum, it makes me a better rider, and it still does everything I need. On the turn track, it's just easier to stay in those turns, in those routes, and I like it. This was a little bit too much for me. And on the tighter technical single track, it's just less bike, and it has enough power for everything. Unless you are pulling a really, really steep sand hill, then yeah, 450 power is easier. But everything else, technical stuff, and even some hill climbs, no problem on 250. So really, you just need to know what kind of riding you're gonna do, and then pick the bike. Both are amazing. If I can, I'll keep both. All right, my friends, well, that's about it. Hopefully this helped you a little bit. You can hear the difference, you can see the difference. I kind of explained what I felt, what I would choose it for what condition. Hopefully that helps. If you have one of these 2 bikes, or maybe you have both, leave the comments below. Let us know what you like, what you don't like, and don't forget, whatever you do, stay motivated. See you guys later.